You've said for the last couple of weeks, got to be up for a cup game. Have the boys now got to be up for a league game?
Yeah, they've been up for most league games, and when they're not, the quality of the league is they can beat you. So yeah, we was up for the cup, that's for sure. But the boys found their form, they found their passion, and we had a bit of a saying just before the game, about showing a bit of passion, and no point. I heard that during the day, and I thought that was a poignant sort of little sentence for us on that day, and they played like that, and that gave us the result. And now we've got to play with the same sort of passion against Portsmouth, because they're a very good side. And I seem to be saying that every week, but they are, because we watch all the highlights of these teams, and they're decent. So it'd be a great game, because it'd be a great atmosphere, and it's one that the boys I know right now are looking forward to.
And because the away section's already sold out, it's going to give it that extra intensity, isn't it? Yeah,
it does, but it gives. I think all players like playing in a big atmosphere, and give them that sort of feeling of a big game, and it is a big game. So yeah, I think they'll take what they've picked up at Crewe, and hopefully they'll put it into this game.
How difficult is selection for you this week? Jordan Cranston's back available for starters, and you've also got that conundrum now up front. If you've got three strikers working very hard and scoring goals, so there's a decision to be made over shape as well, if you can sort of shoehorn them all in.
Yeah, there is, and that's why you get averagely paid as a manager. Without accounting sitting over there, to make big decisions, and that's what you have to do. And the lads know that they trust my decisions. They don't always like it if they're left out, but there'll always be a reason why I've done it, and I'll always explain it to them. So, when a team's won a game, do you keep the same team? It's only 3 days gone or something, so do you put in 3 or 4 fresh players into the team? There's all those decisions, and I'll make the right decisions for the right reasons.
Is there a thought with Billy Walters, who was great this time last year, and then the second half of the season didn't really happen for him? Is there a thought of actually, managing him perhaps a little bit differently to try and get a better second half of the season out of him this year?
Oh, just get rid of him in January.
What, for $1 million?
He only gives, yeah, that'd be nice. No, he's had a great spell, and he's working his socks off. That's the main thing. Pleased he got his goal the other night, and it does create competition anyway. Now Dan Holman's back, and Moore's coming to see me because he wants to play as well. Of course he does. So hopefully that they'll do it in a positive way, which at the moment they all are. They know that there's that competition. So, but Billy, he was pretty new to the game last year, and he is improving all the time. So hopefully he'll be able to see the season out, having scored however many more than he did last year. But he's good to have around, Billy, and the lads all like him, and he's a good, except Munsey probably, but most of them like him.
Because you've now got the forfeit strikers, can you actually say to them, look, just work your socks off, give me an hour, you haven't got to last the 90 because I've got options I can bring on?
You should be a manager, they're great words. Are we writing all these down? Yes, and you state the bleeding obvious sometimes as well.
Yeah, I know.
What was the question?
Can you get an hour out of players, 100%?
No, I got your question. It was, if you tell players that, yes, that can be a little bit of motivation for them, in a way that they don't really only want to play an hour, they want to play the whole game. So if you say you've only got an hour, they're going to try and prove to you that they got a little bit more. You can use that one. Players don't like to be injured during at that time, when they're thinking, there's competition. So we have to manage that and be careful with that someone's not playing with a little knock. So, I just have to manage it daily and keep an eye on them in training, see where they are mentally and physically, and then pick the team accordingly.
And talking of injuries, everyone come through Tuesday, all right?
Yeah, they did. there's, again, after every game, there's always a couple of little niggles and things, so you just have to wait till the Friday really to actually pick your team. That's what you have to do most weeks, but very rarely can you pick it on a Thursday when you've had a game on a Tuesday. So, but generally, yeah, there's no, such what, there was no major problems.
Portsmouth, obviously, massive club at this level, but they've been at the level for a couple of years. I suppose, in some ways, the pressure cranks up on them year on year, doesn't it?
Well, I would have thought so, yeah. I mean, certainly the pressure's on the managers of Portsmouth year on year. And of course, Paul Cox has gone in there. They could probably put at least, well, they can put 2 top teams out at this level, which I think they did in one of the cup games, didn't they? They changed 10 players, and I think they still beat Bristol Rovers on the day. So they've got a very, very good squad for this level. There's 4 or 5 in their team that should be playing at a high level, but they can get the same sort of wages at Portsmouth as they could in the first division or some championship teams. So they're strong, but they can only play 11, and we've got 11 lads that are going to be up for it, hopefully, and if we are, then they're not going to be able to come here and have a nice, comfortable day at the LCI Stadium. LCI Rail Stadium. Gets me another free ticket on the trains.
Cheers, Gary. Thank you.
Before Tuesday, you spoke about the need to string 3 or 4 results together. Is that's still very much the case even after the terrific performance on Tuesday?
Yeah, it is. We've got to do that, and it's nice to still be in the 2 competitions that we've been competing in, and now we've got to add league wins to that, and if we can just keep the run of wins going, you'll still be in the cup competitions, and you'd have picked up a few points in the league. So it's very tight, as you know. So it's not great seeing us sort of below the halfway line already, quite a way below. But 5 points off the playoffs, and if you get to January and any team that's still 5 points off the playoffs, they've still got a very good chance. So it's still very much there for the 20 teams outside the top 3, 20 all teams, because even the bottom teams is only 8 points or something, 8 points off the playoffs. So they could put a little run together as well. So early days, and but our team has shown how good it can be. That's what we need to see, and then that's the standard that they have to aspire to constantly.
In more ways than one, it's a pivotal time then with the cup coming up, the checker trade coming up.
Yeah.
You've got 6 weeks to go until the January transfer window,
yeah.
And you've got to earn some league points to get up the table. Is that the sort of message that it is a big 6 weeks for every single player?
Yeah, it is, and that's been the message for the last couple of weeks, especially at Hartlepool, because that was a matter of saying, look fellas, unless you've got a Man United move, be careful, because you could find yourself back where you was last year, because you haven't performed at this level. So you better, they had to start performing at this level and proving that they were league players, especially the ones that hadn't played in it. So they certainly showed that at Crewe, even though it was in the cup. And to be fair, in 10 games we've only lost the 1. So in effect, we'd have ripped someone's arm off if they said you were going to, not get beat in 9 out of 10. We just got to turn, like we have all season, turn some of our draws into wins.
The 3 up front was sort of in part forced on you in a way. The fact that Holman back, Billy Waters is in great form, Wrighty's your focal point. But has it sort of given you the thought that it could work for a long term, given the way that they performed and the combinations, especially between the 3?
I mean, you never look long term, because if you said it was long term, then they might get a little bit complacent that they're in the team. But the work rate of the three of them is fantastic, and that's really what's going to make them a force, because they'll get back in. They'll get back in when they need to. They'll go the other way when they need to. And Wright, if he's on his day, he's unplayable. Holman's going to get his shots in from all over the pitch, and Billy's you wind him up, let him go, and he just keeps going. And he's very hard to pick up, and he does work hard. So it can work because of their work rate. They're not just going to be standing up front, letting the other 7 or 8 do all the defending for them.
How good was it to see Dan Holman score a Dan Holman typical goal on Tuesday night, and do it sort of 60 minutes into his run as well, to show that he still had that sort of the legs in him and the.
Well, that was what I was really pleased with, the fact that he looked like he had the legs in him. He was a great little nutmeg in the shot that from 35 yards or something, the goalie tipped over the bar. He was shutting people down. He was looking to win the ball. They're the things that we know their strengths, and sometimes these lads have to improve on their weaknesses. And we didn't look like we had a weakness on that day. So hopefully he can keep doing the things he's doing well, and just improve on the things that he needs to improve on.
And is he getting closer to being sort of 90-minute fit now?
I would have thought so, yeah. I mean, 70 minutes the other day was a little bit precautionary from us. He didn't really. I think if he'd have had a choice, he wouldn't have wanted to come off. But no, we'll keep him hungry for a little while. At least we started him. He got a good 70 minutes, got his goal, as did Billy. And because of the work rate they put in, we could give him a little break.
And just one, you spoke about maybe Hartlepool being a game too far because of the Tuesday-Saturday.
Yeah.
Do you have to look at these 2 games coming up as a double rather than just prepare flat out for Portsmouth? Do you have to leave something in the locker maybe for Colchester?
Sometimes you do, yeah, and we are aware of that, and we just had a meeting of the staff to see what we think the first team need. But you've got 2 groups. You've got the team that run their hearts out for 90 minutes and sometimes both games, and then you've got a group that need a bit of work. People like Morgs and Rowe's come back now, and people like that, and Danny Whitehead, Kobe, Solomon's back with us, although he's been with England. So we got lads that we need to keep bright and fit. So we'll have to go 2 groups, one not doing so much and one working a little bit harder. So we're having to manage that at the moment.
Cheers.
No problem.